The Northwestern Duke game is just a couple days away, so let's talk about all the reasons that Northwestern is going to win.
You are Locked On Northwestern, your daily podcast on the Northwestern Wildcats, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thank you for joining us here on Locked On Northwestern. I'm your host, Carter Bird. We are part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. You can follow us wherever you get your podcasts. You can look us up on Spotify, Locked On Northwestern. Make sure you subscribe. Just want to thank you for making Locked On Northwestern your first listen every day. And be sure to find us, leave reviews, comments, all that stuff helps us. But today's episode is brought to you by Upside. Download the free Upside app and use promo code LOCKED to get $5 or more cash back on your first purchase of $10 or more. So we know that this Duke Northwestern game is happening in just 2 days. So let's talk about why Northwestern is going to win this game. Let's talk about it and it starts up front, and that's been my message. It's been my message ever since this first game. I felt good a little bit about the offensive line against Nebraska, and then they exceeded any and every expectation that I had in that opening matchup. The line for this game, if you are on Bet Online, our friends there, is Northwestern -10. The over-under is 57.5. But this game, you hear Fitz talk about so much about winning the 6-inch war. And that's what Northwestern has to do in this game. That's what Northwestern is going to do in this game. The offensive line is geared up, and it looks as good as it's looked in a long time. I mean, you heard Fitz say on Monday that this was the first time since he and Kurt Anderson have been working together that the entire offensive line across the board has graded out over 90%. That should give you an idea of how good they were against a really big Nebraska front that is supposed to be good. Well, that's where it starts. Peter Skoronski, Wiedeker, everybody up front. It's really, I think, the bookend tackles with the experience level they have. I think that's a huge plus going into this game. Behind them, you have the running backs. You have these running backs, the Evan Hull, Cam Porter, Andrew Clare. You have depth there, but just look at that first game where you had two guys almost run for 100 yards. Evan Hull did run for 100 yards. You get two guys who are as dangerous as just about anybody in the Big Ten. Just about anybody Duke is going to see in the ACC, especially with Jahmyr Gibbs out of Georgia Tech transferring to Alabama. The best running back in the ACC is no longer there. I mean, you got the guy at Syracuse that I'm drawing a blank on, who's a stud. But Northwestern's got probably the best pair of running backs that this Duke team is going to see at least for a few weeks, and I think that's key with the offense. Combine that with the offensive line. Northwestern is going to try to start faster in the run game, and that's really where this whole game is going to start up front. Is can they run between the tackles against against Nebraska? Rather, they were a little slow early trying to run the ball between the tackles. Late, they really wore down that Nebraska front and started ripping off chunk play after chunk play after chunk play, bleeding a lot of clock. I don't see this game playing out any differently than that. I see Northwestern, if anything, establishing that run even earlier. And then that brings me to my next key, which is Ryan Hilinski. If Ryan Hilinski of 2022 is the guy that we saw in week 0, this Northwestern offense can be a problem for just about anybody in the Big Ten, because he trusted his offensive line. He was calm. He was collected. He was confident. And he was on time and on target in just about every throw. His feet were great. He looked, I mean, everything you want out of your quarterback. Ryan Hilinski was in week 0, and it was truly impressive. It was a side of Ryan Hilinski we had not seen through 3 years of his college career. So credit to him and the improvements that he made in the offseason with his game, knowing the offense. First time in his career that he had the same offensive coordinator for 2 consecutive seasons. He talked a lot about leading up in fall camp, how he changed his body in the weight room and with the dietitians on staff there at Northwestern. So I think those 3 are the key on offense, and I think that Hilinski's play will allow receivers to step up. On defense, again, that 6-inch war. This Northwestern defensive line has to get some pressure with bringing 4. Can you get pressure on Riley Leonard, who balled out against Temple? Looked awesome. What was 80% completion percentage, 320 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks. Also ran for 64 yards, which is a little bit surprising in that one. I think if Northwestern can control the trenches, then Northwestern's going to take over this game. But and I think that the secondary, I would like to see them have a little bit quicker start than against Nebraska. That opening drive for Nebraska, the Northwestern secondary kind of got picked apart on the way down the field. It was tough to watch them struggle the way that they did on that opening drive. You thought right off the bat, oh no, this is a repeat of 2021. They got better as the game went on. They've made some plays. Cam Mitchell, they allowed some plays. The scramble play right before his interception. But I think that group needs to step up against a group of receivers in Duke that have I mean, you've got Jordan Moore, a converted quarterback, playing out there. You have some skill position guys who have shown some progress, some improvement, some skill out there. Specifically, Jalen Calhoun, probably your leader of that group of receivers for Duke. I want to see Cam Mitchell shut him down. I want to see the remainder of that secondary, Coco Ozma, AJ Hampton. I'm assuming he's back. I haven't seen any updates on him. But I would like to see them lock up Jordan Moore and these other weapons that Duke has and try to stifle a Duke offense that got to 500 yards on the dot against Temple. So and then finally, I want to bring this one up because I almost forgot about it. But the field position battle, you saw Luke Akers, the UCLA transfer, the son of Eagles legend David Akers, the kicker. You saw him control the game with his leg as the punter. And he brought some energy that I loved. Fitz talked about it, how much he loved the energy that he brings. But if he can continue to pin teams deep and make them drive the field, I really like this Northwestern team, and I like them on Saturday. Make this Duke team earn every score that they have. Don't protect the football, don't turn the ball over, and play the field position game with your superior offensive line, running backs, and quarterback. Let your talent on the offensive side allow you to score enough points to win this game. That's how I see it playing out. Those are my keys for Northwestern winning this game. In just a second, we're going to start looking at the other games in the Big Ten. And then we'll finally look at some of the big games around the country. But first, let's talk about our friends at Upside. From cringing at the pump to getting eye-popping checks at your favorite restaurant, inflation is hitting us all where it hurts. And it really hurts. That's why I started using Upside. Upside is an incredible app for anyone who buys gas, groceries, or dines out. With every purchase, I'm earning cash back thanks to Upside. I mean, something that I've started using here as I have moved to my new place. I've started using it when I go out to eat, when I go grocery shopping. It's been a huge thing, a huge tool that I have used. To get started, download the free Upside app Use promo code LOCKED and get $5 or more cash back on your first purchase of $10 or more. Next, claim an offer for whatever you're buying on Upside. Check in at the business, pay as usual with a credit or debit card, and get paid. In comparison to credit card rewards or loyalty programs, you can earn 3 times more cash back with Upside. Upside users are earning more than $1 million every week. That's probably why they have a 4.8 rating on the App Store. Download the free Upside app. Use promo code LOCKED to get $5 or more cash back on your first purchase of $10 or more. That's $5 or more cash back on your first purchase of $10 or more using promo code LOCKED. All right, so let's talk about the other games going around the Big Ten. We're going to run through everybody that's playing an FBS opponent. You have Ohio State taking on Arkansas State at home. 44.5-point favorites. Over under of 68.5, according to our friends on Bet Online. All of these lines you can find on Bet Online. Our good friends there. I'm not sure Ohio State covers that spread just because you saw the offense a little bit shaky, a little bit banged up in week 1. But I do think that this is the game that the offense gets back on track. Let's think 44.5 is a lot. And let's see what Butch Jones and the boys have for the Buckeyes. Next up, you have Ohio at Penn State. Penn State coming off a game that they probably shouldn't have won. I know I went on a rant on it last week. Jeff Brom, what on earth are you doing? But Penn State survived, got to 1-0. They get Ohio at home, 25.5-point favorites in that one, over under of 54. Again, I am not a Sean Clifford believer. I don't think he is that special of a quarterback. Despite what Auburn made him look like last year, he looked like a Heisman candidate. He's never been that guy in any other game. And I don't think he was really for most of that game last week. Final drive, I mean, everybody was singing his praises. Yes, he made the right reads, but he didn't throw the ball farther than 5 yards down the field. So give me Ohio. I'll take Ohio 25.5. Give me, action, baby. Let's get in there and make it tough on Penn State because they do. This is, hey, it's a trappy spot for Ohio. Not that they're going to win this game. But in between Purdue, a conference game, and Penn State's trip to Auburn, I mean, maybe Penn State's not focused on this Ohio team. Give me Ohio plus 25.5, and I'll take the over in that one. I'm taking the under in the Ohio State game though. Maryland minus 27 at Charlotte. Well, Charlotte's really, really bad this year. Charlotte's really, really bad. In a year that they needed to bounce back, they are an upstart college football team. They have not been an FBS program for that long. They did beat Duke last year, I believe. I think that's worth noting. But give me Maryland. Give me Talia Tagovailoa at Charlotte. Minus 27. I think they covered that. I think they probably smashed the over in that game, which is 65.5. That's where I sit on that one. Next up, a Power 5 matchup. Washington State at Wisconsin. Wisconsin's a 17.5-point favorite, over under of 49. Well, give me the over in this one. I think Wisconsin's going to put up some points. I think they're going to run the ball in Washington State. Washington State might be a worse situation than we thought. They had some momentum last year, had a coach fired for, I guess, vaccine reasons. And then you saw them go to an interim. Well, the interim, I don't think he's going to earn that job this year. I think that Washington State job will be open at the end of the year, and I think that Wisconsin probably covers 17.5 in that one. I just don't believe in this Washington State team this year. Akron at Michigan State. Michigan State is a 34.5-point favorite in this one, over under of 56. I feel like there's a pretty good chance that the over hits in this game. Some of these games I'm pretty much shooting from the hip because I don't know a ton about the MAC right now. Have not brushed up on that, but I bet you Michigan State. I know that they have some turnover on that offense. I bet you they cover 34.5. I kind of like it there. All you got to do is win by 35, 5 touchdowns. I'll take Michigan State minus 34.5 on that one. Another Power 5 matchup, Virginia at Illinois. Illinois minus 4, over under 58. New coach at Virginia. I don't think it's going to go well in year one. Illinois minus 4. Give me that. I think this Illinois team is probably better than we think. Not sure how good that actually is. I'll take Illinois and the under 56. Next up, the Cy-Hawk Trophy. Iowa State at Iowa. Iowa is somehow a 3.5-point favorite in this game, despite literally not having an offense, like the most embarrassing offense ever. I saw that we know that they scored 3 points as an offense last week in their 7-3 win over South Dakota State. Well, they had to have 2 safeties. If they can't score 4 points on offense against South Dakota, why do I think they're going to cover a 4-point spread against Iowa State? I think there's an unbelievable stat I saw today that they won that game against South Dakota State with 166 yards of offense, becoming the first team to win a game with under 175 yards of offense since they did it last year in this exact game when they had 172 yards of offense in a 27-17 win over Iowa State. That should tell you how lucky they got with turnovers. The fact that they had 170 yards and 27 points. I don't think they have a chance in heck to cover 3.5 points in this game. Give me Iowa State plus 3.5. I don't think you can make an under low enough for me in this game. I'll go Iowa State plus 3.5 under 40, which I know is crazy to say in modern college football. Next up, Georgia Southern at Nebraska. Nebraska is a 23-point favorite, over under of 63. Well, Clay Helton, year one at Georgia Southern, Nebraska team that is struggling, lost to Northwestern and Dublin, flirted with disaster for about 3 quarters for North Dakota against North Dakota. Give me Georgia Southern plus 23. I don't believe in Nebraska anymore. I thought they were going to be really good. They have not. The fact that they didn't impress me getting off the mat after the Dublin game, I will take Georgia Southern plus 23. I'll take the over to this one. I just think Clay Helton's an offensive guy. Scott Frost's going to want to score. Can he? Anthony Grant looks pretty good at running back. I mean, maybe they need to work on catching the ball before this game on Saturday. Who knows? Hawaii at Michigan is the last one we're going to cover. Michigan is a 51-point favorite in this one. Yeah, that should tell you what's going on at Hawaii. 51 points is a ton. They lost by 53 to Vanderbilt, who's going to win 2 games this year. That should tell you everything you need to know. Michigan's covering 51. They're starting what? They're starting J.J. McCarthy after starting Cade McNamara last week in that weird, we're going to start one quarterback one week, one quarterback the other week because we don't respect our non-con that much. I'll take Michigan, and I'll take the under 67 because I don't think Hawaii's going to score that much. I don't think Hawaii's going to score hardly at all in this game. I could see a game that's like 62-3 or 63-3 in this game, and they hit the under. I mean, I think it's going to be ugly, ugly, ugly. But that wraps up the Big Ten games that we're going to talk about this week. In just a second, we're going to start looking at some of the bigger games around the country. But first, thanks for making Locked On Northwestern your first listen every day. Now, for your second listen, go check out the Ultimate Pro Football Preview 2022, an 8-episode extravaganza to get you ready for the NFL season. That starts tonight. The local team experts of the Locked On Podcast Network, plus a betting angle from Lee Sterling of Locked On Bets, all combining into one ultimate NFL preview. Search for Ultimate Pro Football Preview 2022 on your Odyssey app, YouTube, or wherever you get your podcasts. All right, here we go. Big games around the country. Number 1, Alabama. Minus 19.5 on Bet Online at Texas over under 65. Look, this is going to be a bloodbath. It may not be Georgia-Oregon of last week, but it's going to be close. Texas has no business competing in this game. It's really, really, really dumb that it's game day. I will say that on the record. I think it's stupid. I think there are a handful of games that are more entertaining, that are better, that are actual ranked matchups that deserve this over Alabama and Texas. Alabama's going to kill them. Texas is going to get absolutely exposed in this game. You already heard Sark. Sark is borderline admitting defeat before the game even starts. He said, this Alabama game doesn't define this Texas team, which is crap you say when you're going to freaking lose by 1,000,000. Not a chance in the world. Alabama by 40. South Carolina at number 16. Arkansas. Arkansas is only an 8-point favorite. That's why I had this one circled. Spencer Rattler in South Carolina. I'm just not a believer. And I am very much a believer in Arkansas. I think Arkansas is going to be the second or third best team in the SEC West. Over under 53. Give me Arkansas -8 and the over in that one. I think first year Shane Beamer at South Carolina was a mirage. I think they got a lot of fortunate timing of when they played teams. They played a Florida team that was spiraling. They played an Auburn team that just had its starting quarterback who now plays at Oregon break his ankle the week before. And they were really fortunate last year. They played a South Carolina team or a North Carolina team in their bowl game, I believe, that apparently has forgotten how to play defense. So yeah, give me Arkansas -8 because KJ Jefferson is a better quarterback right now than Spencer Rattler. Missouri at Kansas State. Kansas State -8. I have this one circled because I think Kansas State's sneaky good. And I think Missouri is really bad. Give me K-State -8. Over under 56.5. They're going to hit the over in that. I think K-State's going to score enough. And at least the one thing Eli Drinkwitz is known for at Missouri is he's an offensive guy. So maybe he should score some. So I'll take the over in that one. Finally, one of the games that should be game day over dadgum Alabama at Texas. Who gives a crap about that game? That game sucks. Number 24, Tennessee is a 6-point favorite at number 17, Pitt. Look, if the road team that's ranked lower is a dadgum near a full touchdown favorite over the home team that's ranked higher, your rankings are wrong. Tennessee -6. I think Pitt is wildly overrated. Over under 67. I think they're going to smash that because both these teams are going to want to score. I will take Tennessee in that one for sure. Next up, number 25, Houston at Texas Tech. Texas Tech is the 3.5-point favorite in this one. Over under 63.5. Look, first-year head coach at Texas Tech. I think we're getting a little cart ahead of the horse here. Cart ahead of the horse. I know Houston struggled with UTSA. UTSA is better than Texas Tech. And I think that Houston wins this one by I think they win the game straight up. Give me Houston +3.5. Give me Houston money line. And I'll take the over just because I think Clayton Tune is a really good quarterback. And I think Texas Tech, don't know much about this team, but history would tell you that they're capable of scoring too. I think that Texas Tech is on a really strong path. They are kind of using the UTSA model with Jeff Traylor with their coach, another high school legend there. I like what they're going to start to build, but you're not there yet. It's week 2 of year 1. No. Give me Houston +3.5. Next up, USC, 8.5-point favorites at Stanford. Over under 68. Oh, I don't like this game at all. I guess I'm taking USC -8.5. When your defense is forcing pick sixes all over the place, 3 pick sixes last week, I just don't believe in Stanford. I think it's time to talk about David Shaw. It's time to have that conversation. It's time to talk about whether Stanford wants to be good at football. So give me USC -8.5. Give me the under 68. I don't think Stanford's going to score as much as we hope. Although I hope Emmitt Smith Jr. goes nuts. Who knows? Arizona State at number 11, Oklahoma State, sorry. Minus 11.5. Oklahoma State is in this one. 11.5 point favorites over under 58. I think the over hits. Oklahoma State's defense has crashed down to earth. They were awesome last year. They were awful last week. They allowed 44 to Jim McElwain and the boys at Central Michigan. So give me the over in this one. I don't think Arizona State's a good team, so give me Oklahoma State minus 11.5 though. Number 9, Baylor at BYU. Number 21, BYU. BYU is a 3-point favorite in that game at home. This game should be game day. This game should be game day. That Pitt game could have been game day, could have been game day. I guess they got game day last week with the West Virginia Pitt game. They didn't want to go there again. Go to Provo, man. Provo's sick. BYU is winning this game. BYU is winning this game. BYU minus 3, over under a 54. I think the over hits. I think both teams are capable of putting up some points. You got a new quarterback at Baylor who beat out the Big 12 champion quarterback, and now here you are in Provo playing a really good team with Jaron Hall and all the boys at BYU. Give me BYU minus 3 and the over 54. Just because it's interesting to me, give me Mississippi State. Look at this, Mississippi State minus 11 at Arizona. Arizona's showing progress under Jed Fish. Surprising. Don't think we saw that happening this soon. Mississippi State, though, Will Rogers, it's starting at like 10:30 p.m. Central Time, which is like brutal for a Mississippi State team that's from the Central Time Zone. Hate that for them, but they're still way better. They are sneaky, one of the best teams in the SEC. Nobody respects them because they are maroon and white, and they have an M on their helmet rather than a yellow helmet that says LSU, because LSU got exposed in week 1 for how bad they are. Mississippi State minus 11 all day. I'll take the over. Air raid, baby. Look at Will Rogers. He's going to go out there and chuck it around the yard. Give me Mississippi State minus 11, and I'll take the over on that one. Finally, the other really, really big game. I missed it at first when I was making my list. Number 20, Kentucky at number 12, Florida. Florida is a 6-point favorite in this game, coming off their upset of number 7, Utah, over under of 52. Look, I'm taking the over. I think you've got two very, very talented quarterbacks with plenty of arm talent and plenty of ability to run the football. I think that makes it very challenging on these defenses. Some people maybe on this network maybe are a little too excited about Florida. Florida did not stop the run, despite what some people would make you believe. I think this Kentucky team is ready for this matchup. I think Kentucky's pretty good. Give me Will Levis and Kentucky to cover +6. I think the over hits. I just think there's too many pieces with these quarterbacks and the run game at Kentucky and what Anthony Richardson. Look, I think Anthony Richardson is awesome. I had my doubts coming in. He looked great in the opening week. I think it's a pretty good matchup with these quarterbacks. I don't think Florida's worthy of number 12. I don't think so. You win at home, 91,000 people against number 7 Utah. It's impressive. Don't get me wrong. It's excessive, though. They have the chance to earn that number 12 ranking this week. Give me Kentucky +6. I think Kentucky wins the game, and I think the over hits. So that's going to do it for the big national games that I have picked out. If you want to include a Louisville UCF game, give me Gus Malzahn and the Knights to cover that. Revenge game for last year when everything possibly could have gone wrong. Louisville might be spiraling after they got housed by Syracuse. 31 points to Syracuse, 24-point loss. Odd. Yeah, give me UCF in that one. And yeah, that's going to do it for the big games around the country. Tomorrow will be the crossover episode with JJ Jackson of Locked On Blue Devils. A lot of fun, great conversation. We had to record it a little bit early. It's already scheduled to come out. You'll see it in the morning. And make sure you subscribe. Thank you for making Locked On Northwestern your first listen every day. We're available wherever you get podcasts. We're on YouTube. Just search Locked On Northwestern. Make sure you subscribe. Don't want to miss that episode tomorrow. It's a lot of fun. Great conversation about Saturday's game. Thank you for making us a part of your daily listens. I'm your host, Carter Bird. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at CarterBird13. And I will see you next time.